What's up, everybody? This is Tasteless here, bringing you a cast from a replay from the EGC Stormgate tournament. We're still in the middle of this tournament. It's got a couple more days to go. I will be casting the later part of this tournament, but I wanted to get warmed up here, so we're casting a replay of it right now. This is Psycho. Over here in the bottom left is Infernal versus Miracle in the top right. And we're going to get right into our game. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. You can always join me on my Twitch stream at Tasteless TV, where I cast these live. Yeah, so let's get into it. This is going to be fun. Immediately, we've got the dog coming across the map. It's pretty common every time to have the dog come out here to start to harass these imps. We have what I assume is a conclave being produced. And it's pretty important to get your imps over here to mine. I guess it's called ore or theorem, but to get that mined as quickly as possible. Because if you're going to be making gaunts, it's 15 gaunt. Each imp, it's 5 resources from this to return. So it's always good to get that over there quickly. No meat farm being made yet. And over here, we did not have any kind of rush into a barracks. It's been straight up Bob production. So really worker focused. I'm wondering if, with how long this has gone on for, if we're going to actually just see them, our Vanguard player, expand here. So there it is. The first gaunt is out. The dog is pretty weakened up. No imps were actually killed off, so pretty good control there. We're going to see the small push out to the expansion. I think, you know, with the dog being aggressive, as it was there from Miracle, there's no way to really prevent a player from getting a base up, and so this is going to go uncontested. We've got the barracks coming down here. Pretty standard, by the way, to use the 2 bobs for the boost. That does appear to be the magic number. If you're watching this, keep in mind that this is very early on in the game. I know sometimes when these games sit on YouTube for a while, you know, there could be a couple patches that have come out. So when you see this, if it's been down the road, it may be a different build, but right now this does appear to be the approach, and it's going to be a fast expand play. So the barracks kind of part of almost a wall that's being built over here, but both sides in this position not really being aggressive at all. We've got a second gaunt made. One thing about the placement here, you can see that it keeps the gaunt like a little alleyway that it can go through, where it's harder to be surrounded by dogs. It's kind of a safe way to approach this. Now, we don't have any creeping. I don't know if that's right or wrong. It does seem like each side opened up without creeping really being an option. Basically, the aggressive play here from the Vanguard player, it can keep the other player in check. We've seen a lot of Infernals go for either creeping or fast expanding. This is a fast expanding build. I think the creeping is going to be available pretty soon for Infernal, depending on the direction the game goes. And we're going to get the first tower constructed over here. Now, we've got a Lancer moving across the map. I actually thought this Lancer was going to be made to go in the tower. The Lancers inside the towers early on are just so good. So, in this game, and this is actually something I like to do as well, I've been playing a lot of games with Infernal. You can use the imps to cut down these trees. Only workers early on can do this. So this creates an opening, and there's a pretty nice third base over here with a ramp connecting to the low ground that you can take. This is a game where both players are fast expanding at kind of a crazy rate. I mean, this is going to be a third base very soon. This is basically being made to defend this third. So I think it's going to be a pretty passive game. We do have the creeping started. This is a highly desirable spot to try to creep into, because with gaunts, each of these creeps, these goats, or yaks, or whatever they are, they get infested and it spawns a fiend. So you could see you kill those 5 creeps, you get 5 fiends. Suddenly your army's a lot stronger. You could start to kill all the creeps on the map. Now, there is, or was some creeping, I should say, earlier, to take out these resource camps here in the middle. But we're going to have a collide over here. The dog is going to get body blocked. Veterancy dog is going to be picked off. So another fiend on the map now. And these fiends, you got to be careful. Lancers are pretty beefy, but if they get surrounded, they're in trouble. But they're not going to get surrounded. Not the best placement here, by the way. As far as we understand right now, this is not a convenient spot to mine from diagonally. You really want to have a 90-degree angle. 45-degree angle, whatever you want to call it. Straight line. And so the roaming's going to continue on here. We've got our Vanguard player getting more barracks in production. We have seen some games where we'll see maybe 4 or even 6 barracks. I don't know the math on what's right yet. The math is still a little bit fuzzy. I think everybody's still figuring it out. But big upgraded Lancer pushes onto Infernal third bases. So that's going to be kind of cool if he can pull it off. I mean, at this point in time, you've gotten the second creep camp taken. You can see the snowball effect of these fiends coming out. And look, the fiends are scary, especially for the Vanguard player when they're out on the map alone, because they can surround stuff and kill it off. But there's going to be a point where if there's enough Exos in the game, Exos, if they have to fight the fiends and the fiends surround them, the Exos can get killed. But if the Exos can kite and keep a distance, they have a lot more sustain. And you really start to see the impact of how slow the brutes are in the later part of the game. Some of the fiends have been split off to spot for various bases that can be taken. But right now, it does seem like our Vanguard player is on a really healthy economy. We've got the Biolab over here to get upgrades. This base is only just now finishing. A lot of reinforcements are going to come out. We've got tier 2 down, and we're really starting to get the infrastructure on both sides set up. So in an RTS, you can have a lot of different kinds of games. You can have games where somebody's all-inning, the other's trying to defend, both players are being aggressive, and it's a lot of skirmishes on the map. This is a game where both sides played very conservatively and are going to be in very healthy positions as the game progresses. Now, this is not going to be an easy turret to take. Is he actually going to take it? I mean, when you see this totem or whatever it's called put down here, that puts Shroud down there, which allows the Infernal units to gain a lot of what they're calling right now white health. But you could kind of think of it like Protoss shields that you accumulate over time. But there's a second turret being made. Actually, excuse me, a third turret, which is almost connected to this fourth turret down here. So I don't think this is going to be worth it. I think this game's going to go on for a while longer. It does seem like map control is going to stay in the hands of the Infernal. And so you can start to roam and kill these creeps. Keep in mind, guys, some of the creeps, it's not just about getting the fiends, which is a lot of times what I'm focusing on when I'm saying this. You get a small amount, sometimes a little bit of a bigger amount of Luminite, and sometimes even Therum. So if you can just start to wipe the map, even if your opponent is defending and turtling and macroing, you could try to take advantage of the map in a different way. Unsurprisingly, we have a little bit of a poke over here just to confirm. Okay, are the trees opened up? Can you get an idea of what exactly... Oh, speaking of the trees being opened up, we're going to have the Magmadon completely wipe this out. This part of the map is being turned into a parking lot now. And we're going to see an attack in. Now, I could be wrong. It does seem like Vanguard should have enough. If you notice, the Lancers are really fast. This is a funny upgrade where when the Lancers take damage, they actually speed up. So it can be very difficult to deal with. You never really think of melee units as things that can kite, but you'd be surprised when you see what these Lancers can do. The issue, though, I think as we get into, I guess what we could call mid-game, slowly moving into late game, the issue is that it does seem like the Vanguard have a mobility advantage, which it puts it's a real challenge here. It seems like you want to use the Magmadons to dive in and stun, but if you overextend, especially as we see these Exos, these gunners in the back with the rifles, this is where it gets pretty tricky. And it's not even just a Stormgate thing, guys. Any game where one set of units has a speed advantage versus the other, especially if there's ranged attacks there, it's very easy to trade more efficiently over time. Because when you're losing the fight, you run away, you get out faster. When they're running it away, because they're at a disadvantage, you can close in and get more kills. Not just a fourth, but a fifth base. I somehow missed this. Sorry, guys. And a fourth base now for the Vanguard. So Infernal is actually now ahead. It does seem like in the games that I've played and casted that there's a period where, like, 3 bases is kind of the magic number for Vanguard. They'll set up on that and try to power up. And really, after the 3rd base is taken, that's where you'll see the Vanguard start to flex on the map. So I think this game's no exception. There's extra resources here, so this is going to be taken, obviously. Infernal is going to have to go into late game. Now, as a reminder, guys, there's no tier 3 in the beta. So these units are the endgame units, the Hellborns. And so, you know, this game is going to look very different as time passes, but this is where we're at. We are starting to see with the tier 2 units come out here for Vanguard, you know, what kind of game it's going to look like. In my own experience as well, and by the way, it's so fun to learn in RTS, like when you're trying to get to the bottom of how to play correctly, it does seem like it's a bit of a strain to get the right amount of theorem. So this, well, hold on a second. There's a big attack coming up here. Big back and forth. I think Infernal has to get back. Some of these really important units are getting stuck in the back. You can see this is a bit of a congested area over here. And so we're going to see a push further on here. Another attack in. A Magmadon is going to get sniped totally easily. Gaunts, by the way, are extremely brittle. Immediately that tower is wiped out. The push is going to come further and further in here. A tower finishes, spreading some more Shroud. And he's going to back up. What I was saying earlier is... Oh, I can't click. This is a big ore deposit. And so you need a lot of ore. These units right now, the Magmadons and the Hellborns, they cost an insane amount of ore. And you really can't play in late game without them. So it does seem like Theorem... Yeah, I've heard the UI calls it ore chat. It is Theorem as well. Or Therium, sorry. I can't read or talk, apparently. But anyways, this is an important catch. This is an important find. Sometimes we can focus on bases like this and be like, oh, wow, he's going to have so much Luminite. But it does seem like there's not as much you can do with Luminite at that point in time in the game. Thank you for the sub, eSports, Zaldman. Appreciate you. So things got pretty quiet pretty quickly. It does seem like the map is repopulating with a lot of the creeps that were wiped out earlier. And we're in a game where, you know, you got to point out there aren't that many resource locations left. With these being the only two races, it does seem like both this space and this space, it's hard for either side to really control it. Both sides are able to kind of shell each other and use projectiles to punish these middle bases. And we're seeing a lot of roaming. By the way, I think my game might be lagging a little bit. It seems like if enough med techs are in a game, it just starts to lag. So, yeah, the game's still in beta, guys. Anyways, another expansion being taken over here. And we're kind of in this massing phase. Now, in this iteration of Stormgate, it does seem like Vanguard gets a lot of sustain and can push in here. And so I think it's going to be really important that you get a lot of towers up here to defend. And so I think we're going to see that push come in. This is a lot of Exos. Now, the Exos, right now, their range is really good. Oh, this is almost a bad attack here. It's hard to actually move in. The Magmadons are going to go for a dive. A lot of stuns coming down here. He's going to push in a little bit further, but again, every time you overextend, it allows these units to just come in here. Okay, we're going to see the Lancers come in again. The Lancers actually become surprisingly tanky late in the game. But as long as there are this many Hellborns here in the back, it is very difficult for the Vanguard to really commit. So we're getting into a really long game. I don't know that this is... That's so funny that Fiend got one kill on that Lancer on the way out. I don't know for sure, but I would like to point out that we could end up with a map where the bases really are beginning to be wiped out. This base is going to be wiped out, I think, any second now. Oh, I guess it's only got 11 instead of 12 workers, but I think it's like 13 minutes, 45 seconds for the Luminite repositories, gold mines, whatever you want to call them, to run out. And so what we're seeing now is a situation where both players have to kind of move into the middle of the map. Now, with Vanguard being a little bit more nimble than Infernal, we can see these... It's almost like a drive-by shooting. They run through, kill off the buildings that are there, and then pull right back out. We see the Magmadons pushing forward here. And, I mean, this is a lot of damage trading out. Again, when you see an Infernal player take more bases, you have to keep in mind they're going to mine out more quickly. And so sometimes the bases, just like we see in StarCraft 2 Zerg vs. Zerg, sometimes the bases that are the most important to just taken the middle, it could be the macro race that ends up losing it because they've just consumed more of the map. They run out of their own resource deposits later. This is an idea that I think we saw a lot with Morrow in StarCraft 2, as well as other great Terrans, TY as well, of basically just kind of playing conservatively, letting the race that grows a little bit faster kind of burn out, dry up, so to speak. And I don't think this game's any exception. We are starting to see defense put in the middle of the map. This is not going to last long. This is the one empty tower that drives this entire army away. Keep in mind that as far as supply goes, you can go up to like 300. So, like, you can get armies even bigger than this. This is crazy. This whole army just got infested. I almost just stopped casting because I was waiting for him to just move out. Okay, he's going to move in now. That means everything that's going to be killed while this is infested is going to spawn a fiend. It looks like the infest may have worn out. Chat is asking me, is this FPS normal? No, this is really laggy. It's because of the medics. The med techs actually lag the game. So we've got a lot of shots coming down here now. And it looks like this may be an overextension. Magmadons are going to try to push through here. Oh my god. We're seeing a lot of this get wiped out, but these Vulcans, again, when you get a couple of Vulcans, it's really hard if they're grouped together to really deal with it. And so we're seeing our Infernal player back off. This is mined out. This is going to mine out very soon as well, as will the third. All these bases were taken pretty early on. We see the first real effective attempt to seize a base in the middle. It's also happening over here. Sorry, I actually didn't catch this in time. The dragon is now out. The dragon could be something that could swing the fight. We've got another attack coming in here. Another big push in here. And again, with a lot of these infests coming down here from the dragon, it's, well, dude, it just feels like this is an overextension here from the Vanguard. This is crazy. The Atlases are coming down here. They're pushing. I feel like from the Vanguard player, you want to try to play a little bit more conservatively than this. We're seeing that mass infest come down here on this. There are so many Hellborns here in the back. It's actually, it's kind of causing gridlock here for movement as they can't move any further forward here. The dragon is great for tanking here and continuing to mass infest, causing some of these fiends to come out. The Vulcan does a dive in here. Okay, we've got another big infest coming up. It's like pure Magmadon Hellborn here. Keep in mind, this base it's just over here. If the Infernal can push through, it's going to be pretty ugly. Okay, we've got another push coming back down over here. There are no bases on the map that have not been taken yet, guys. This is going just fine. This main is going to mine out. Oh, that's so weird that his main has not mined out. He's only had 4 workers on there. That's insane to me. All right, we're going to have another push in here. This is a big Luminite dump here on these brutes. Let's see if he can... He's going to keep pushing forward here. This is wild. We could see the defense there on the... I call it defensive matrix. I don't know what it's called for Vanguard, but it's basically defensive matrix used there. Infernal's going to push on even further. As long as these medtechs are still in the game, this frame rate drop is going to stay insane, guys. Sorry, the game is wild, but for some reason when medtechs come out here and start to cast certain abilities, it does lag the game. But it is a crazy game regardless. It does seem like the dragon can come in here again. Now, this isn't one of these moments. You infest these workers, come in here and try to hit this. I didn't know you could cast this on the building. I thought this was only for units. Huh. Well, it seems like at this point in time, the push is not going to stop. And he's going to be able to break through. I think this actually could be GG. There's a lot of infrastructure right over here, by the way. So if you get into this position, you're going to kill a lot. If you could get an infest off over onto these units right here, that would be insane. And it looks like it's happening. I mean, a lot of these are just bobs. It does seem like that's a real thing Infernal could take advantage of, is whenever you can find a bunch of small, weak units, you can just use that infest and really punish. The Megalodons are just stomping everything out of these bobs. The push is going to continue on. This base is no more, by the way. Keep in mind, this base is now fallen. This is the Luminite repository. This is the only thing that's left. And this base was taken not that long ago. Or, sorry, I mean a long time ago is what I mean to say. So this is pretty crazy. I think this game's almost over. I think he probably should have stayed on Exos a little bit longer and just tried to deny the space over here. We had a game we casted earlier with Lucifron where I think he did that pretty effectively. And so now we're seeing the big reinforcement come in. I don't see the dragon with this anymore. Now, you know, a couple Vulcans, the angle can be pretty good where the damage can really be spread out. He's going to try to push in here. Hellborn's continuing to shell this. This is insane. I think that's game. If he kills this, he's on top of the production. If you're on top of these production facilities, it's just really hard to get anything out that's going to do that well. And so I think this game is GG. I don't see any world where you're going to be able to recover. Especially if there's nothing being rebuilt over here. Crazy. Yeah, it is a thing that we can see all the top players trying to learn is like, okay, how strong is my late game army? And what exactly do I want to do with it? It seems like what happened from the Vanguard's position was he just wanted to try to push in as quick as he could once he had the map. I think he felt threatened when he started to see these bases taken. And I think, you know, that was probably a bigger mistake. I think a little bit too cavalier with the Atlases as well. And I mean, look, we're going to see the main get wiped out. I'm kind of surprised Vanguard is still in the game, to be honest. Another push comes in. And now we've got a couple of Hornets out here. The Hornets, I was wondering if we were going to see these used earlier. It does seem like these are growing in popularity online. But these are going to be wiped out as well. As far as Luminite goes, since we're still in this game somehow, being mined very nicely over here in the bottom. We even have Infernal taking these bases here. But, okay, that's going to be a GG. Nicely done. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I apologize about the frame rate. That's just where the game's at right now. Obviously, as they keep iterating the game, they're not going to have bugs like that. Please like and subscribe. Join me on my Twitch stream where I cast these live at Tasteless TV. Please check out my merch shop. It's tastelessthreads.com. We got all sorts of cool stuff. I got to get some kind of Stormgate idea shirts on there. I'll try to put that on soon. But there's a lot of other fun stuff we've got. StarCraft, esports, RTS related that I think you would enjoy. Yeah, have a good one. I'll see you in another video. Bye-bye.